Hello guys, welcome back to Vacalares. This is teacher Jackie, and today we are going to use various types and kinds of sentences for effective communication of information and ideas. Compose clear and coherent sentences using appropriate grammatical structures. Today we are going to talk about how to use various types and kinds of sentences for effective communication of information and ideas. We are going to focus on simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. Have you ever written a diary?
What?
Diary o tala-arawan sa Filipino. Ito yung pagsusulat ng iyong karanasan sa isang araw. It's like a daily journal of
what had happened to you during the day, and
What do you enjoy the most?
or what makes you sad.
I started writing diary when I was just grade 6, just like you. And up to now, I am still writing my diary, but not as frequent as before. Talagang araw-araw ako nagsusulat ng diary noon. You know what? Because of keeping a diary, I was able to write many things, and later on, I was able to write my own stories and my own songs. It was like a training ground for me. I was just starting with a diary, but later in life, I found out that it's more than that.
Hoy, Juan, ang iyong ginagawa, gaano ba kahalaga? Hoy, hoy, hoy!
Later, I'm going to show you how we could write a diary. But before that, we are going to take a review. For the past week, we had been talking about subject-verb agreements, and that is very important if you're going to write sentences. Now, I want you to understand that I had discussed those subject-verb agreements simply because you are going to use them when you're going to write compositions. A sentence is composed of a subject and a predicate. That's actually subject and the verb. Subject and predicate, or simuno at panaguri sa Filipino. That is actually a basic unit, so that from a sentence, we will be able to write a paragraph and eventually write a composition. Now, as you know, a sentence is made up of words. Sometimes, this group of words are independent, and sometimes this group of words are dependent. When we say dependent, ibig sabihin nun, hindi niya kayang tumayo mag-isa. It means that something is lacking. It means that it needs more words to complete the idea or thoughts. When we say independent, it means that nakakatayong mag-isa. It means that the idea is complete, the thought is complete. So now, let's take a review about these words, group of words, that we are going to call as clause. Let's review. Tell whether the clause is dependent or independent. Now remember that a clause is a group of words containing a subject and predicate and functioning as a member of a complex or compound sentence. Let's give it a try. The first group of words, when it rains. Now what do you think? Can it stand on its own or not? Yes, definitely it cannot stand on its own. So, we are going to identify this as dependent. Correct. Let us take a look at this. She recycles the bottles. Do you think it can stand on its own? Or the idea complete? Yes, the idea is complete. Therefore, it is equivalent to a sentence, which is actually independent. Let's have the last one. While she strums the strings, you might ask yourself, so what? Well, obviously, the idea is not complete. Therefore, we identify this one as dependent. For us to write a diary, it means that we are going to write sentences, many sentences. So, I guess it would be very important for you to learn that there are different types and kinds of sentences. We have simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and a combination of compound and complex, which is actually called compound complex sentences. What is a simple sentence? A simple sentence is a sentence that has a subject and a predicate. It contains one idea and it can stand on its own. Let's have this one as an example. Mr. Vacalares teaches TLE subject. We have Mr. Vacalares as our subject, and teaches TLE subject is actually our predicate. We only have one idea and it is complete. Therefore, it is a simple sentence.
What is a compound sentence?
What is a compound sentence? A compound sentence is a sentence that has two complete thoughts or independent clauses that are closely related. Let us have this for example. Mr. Vacalares teaches TLE subject and he is very good at demonstrating each lesson. We have here Mr. Vacalares teaches TLE subject as a first independent clause, and then we have he is very good at demonstrating each lesson, which is another independent clause, joined together by and it is a compound sentence.
How are you going to write a compound sentence?
Tips in writing compound sentence. Use a comma and a coordinating conjunction to connect the two complete thoughts or independent clauses. Coordinating conjunctions are and, but, or, nor, so, yet, and for. Use a compound sentence to join related ideas. The sentence will not make sense unless the two ideas are related. Use a coordinating conjunction that helps show the relationship between the parts of a compound sentence. Let's take this one for example. Mom bought me shoes, but they didn't fit me. You have the first independent clause here. Mom bought me shoes. Then the other one is they didn't fit me. Notice that the idea is connected to the shoes that didn't fit, and together joined by the word but, which is a coordinating conjunction. Therefore, this is a very good example of a compound sentence.
What is a complex sentence?
What is a complex sentence? A complex sentence is a sentence composed of an independent clause and a dependent clause. Let's take this one as an example. I study hard so that I can get high grades.
How are you going to write a complex sentence?
Tips in writing complex sentence. Dependent clause can be written at the beginning or the end of the sentence. It begins with a subordinating conjunction. Take a look at this example. These plants won't grow unless I water them every day. I started with an independent clause. These plants won't grow. And then I ended it up with a dependent clause, which is unless I water them every day. Now, if the dependent clause is at the beginning of the sentence, put a comma after it. How would it look like? Unless I water them every day, these plants won't grow. Use a subordinating conjunctions to show the relationship between the ideas in a complex sentence such as after, before, though, although, even though, unless, as, if, until, as it, since, when, because, so that, while, as soon as, whatever, and whenever.
Now let us try if you can identify simple, compound, and complex sentences.
Let's practice. Identify the sentence whether it is simple, compound, or complex. Let's begin with the first one. The sun is a ball of fire. What do you think? Is it simple, compound, or complex? Correct. It is simple. How about the second sentence? John wanted the job and he knew he had the skills for it. What do you think? Is it simple, compound, or complex? Correct. It is compound. Notice the word and joining two independent clauses. John wanted the job. He knew he had the skills for it. Now let us have the third example. The dog barks because he doesn't recognize the visitors. What do you think? Is it simple, compound, or complex? Yes, it is complex. How is that? Notice the coordinating conjunction because. That is a hint that there is a dependent clause and an independent clause.
Let's practice some more. You still have to identify whether the sentence is simple, compound, or complex. Let's begin with the first one. Because I am a working mom, I am always busy. Is it simple, compound, or complex? The correct answer is complex. Let's have the second sentence. I love my cat. Is it simple, compound, or complex? Correct. The correct answer is simple. Let's have the third example. I want to see the future, but I think that's impossible. Is it simple, compound, or complex? The correct answer is compound.
What is a compound complex sentence?
What is a compound complex sentence? A compound complex sentence has two or more independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. Take a look at this example. When the weather is good, I walk around so I can play with the butterflies. Look at the first dependent clause here, when the weather is good. And then we have two independent clauses. That is, I walk around, and the next one is, so I can play with the butterflies.
Now let us try if you can identify compound, complex, and compound complex sentences.
Let's practice. This time you're going to identify the sentence whether it is compound complex or compound complex. Let's begin with the first one. I have been using my phone all day and my eyes hurt. What do you think? We have a clue here. The word is and. So we have two independent clauses. Therefore, this sentence is compound. Let's have another one. Because I am just 11 years old, I have to stay home. Do we have a clue? Yes, we have the word because. So, you must conclude that this sentence is complex. Let's have the last one. Since I was very tired, I slept early and dreamed that I was lying on the moon. What do you think? You have here some clues, since and. So, you must say it is a compound complex sentence. I hope you got it right.
Now I am going to show you just a sample of a diary, this thing that I wrote some time ago. Try to identify the kind of sentences that I used in my diary. Now let us try these practice exercises so that we will be able to identify the compound complex and compound complex sentences.
Let's practice some more. Still, you're going to identify the sentence whether it is compound complex or compound complex. Let's begin. I can understand my cat even though it does not talk like us. What do you think? Do we have some clues here? Yes, we have. We have even though. So, with this clue, we can say that this is a complex sentence. Correct. Let's have the second one. After finishing all this, I can go home and I can play with my kids. Well, do you have any clue here? The conjunctions that you can find in this sentence are after and. So, this must be correct, compound complex. Let's have the last one. I just have my first salary and I'm going to buy mom delicious dinner. How many independent clauses do you have here? And what connects them? Yes, we have here and. Therefore, this must be a compound sentence. I hope you got it right.
Now I think you are ready to take our quiz.
Now let's try this one and I want you to do this on your own. Identify the sentence whether it is compound complex or compound complex. Number 1. I took the prescribed medicine but my legs still hurt. Number 2. After the bell rang, students shouted with glee outside. Number 3. I devoured the spaghetti as if I had never tasted them before. Number 4. Let's have fun this weekend with our friends, for it is summertime. Number 5. As if she had never seen daylight, Trina basked in the fresh air, for she had been stuck inside for days.
For your additional activity, I want you to write your own diary. Share with me the things that you do for at least 3 days, and please make sure that you are going to use the different types and kinds of sentences that we have just discussed today.
Here's what's more for you guys. Write a 3-day diary of your own using the various types of sentences. You can use this format.
That's all for today. I hope that you have learned something from me. This is Teacher Jackie saying bye-bye.